Hey everybody, this is MyCollectables coming back with another video, and I want to talk about the growing age of digital collecting. It is actually taking off. It's the growing world, as I say, of digital collecting, and I want to talk about that today and give you some of my thoughts about where I think we're at in this new time and where we're going to be going over the next few years in the world of digital collecting and just collecting in general, and how it's growing communities and how people are coming together using new technology to still do the things that they love, which is collecting, and getting together with people in fandoms. And it's actually stuff that's really taking off. And if you're not into it yet, and if you haven't started to do this yet, to go along with your physical stuff, then, I really think it might be a great time for you to get in. I'm going to give you some examples of stuff you could get into as well. So if you do like this channel, you could always subscribe. This is what I'm going to be talking about more and more. I've been doing a lot of online Veve type, collectibles for a long time now, but now I'm going to be branching this over and connecting the two dots here between, physical and digital. And if you want to stick around for that, that'd be great. Hit subscribe. You can also like this video if you want. And also please comment down below. Let me know if you're new to digital collecting or if you've been in this a long time, or if you're just starting to come around, because I really want to know your thoughts about this. It is a different movement, built all around, demographics and technology, and it's really fun, right? So let's get into this, you guys. Okay, so if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I'm into a project called Veve, and Veve is like, the official, digital collecting app that you can get from the App Store that does, Disney and Star Wars and Marvel comics and all sorts of other stuff and art. And it is a really easy platform to get into. So when I got into this, digital collecting, it was about a year ago, about just over a year ago now. And I come from the world of physical collecting. Like, I owned a comic book shop, and I got, my comics, and I also owned like vintage toys and all sorts of stuff. I have a whole business around buying and selling, collectibles, specifically, vintage toys and comic books and everything like that. And you can see some of the stuff I have behind me. And I come from that world. I was born in the mid-1970s, so I've collected pretty much my whole life, all sorts of different things, from sports cards to comics, like I said, vintage toys and more, and everything in between. And I found the digital collectible app, called Veve, which has NFTs in it, right? And so I like to think of it more now as digital collectibles as opposed to NFTs. It just means you own them, right? You officially own each one. And it's such an easy app. So I downloaded that app about over a year ago, and I've had the most amazing time ever with this, right? And now my kids are starting to get into like digital collecting as well. And Veve's not the only place you can do this, and it's super simple to actually get involved, right? But the thing about it is that this is a growing marketplace. This is a growing section of collectibles that every day new people are going to start coming to, specifically to the IPs, to the big brands that are getting involved in this. And you're going to start noticing more and more of these companies. Like, if you're a comic book collector, you already have Marvel comics that are on the the Veve app. And now the DC, the DC company, they're putting out their comics on DC NFT's website. And I'm going to put a link to all of these things in the description of this video if you want to check them out. But DC Comics has now gotten into the game as well, where they were already on Veve, the app, before doing, physical, like digital figures and stuff. Now they're doing comic books as well. So you can see this is kind of something that's picking up steam, and there's other companies too, like McFarlane Toys themselves are launching their own digital collectible, basically platform, trying to connect the people who buy the physical McFarlane toys, who love that brand and all the IPs associated with it. They're actually starting to do their own as well, which is absolutely crazy, right? And then you have art companies like Vital, and I'll put a link to them as well, who have artists who are now doing digital art as well, and that's also on Veve as well. But that company's coming out with a platform as well, right? You have other places like Warner Brothers, the movie studio, who's put out like, digital collectibles and different ways to, experience their movies. They just did a Lord of the Rings type thing. I'll put a link to that website too, and where you can like, you get like these digital collectibles, but you also get to own the movie in a different way and experience how you do that, right? So this whole world of digital collecting is really coming, and it's only a matter of time before more and more people get involved in it. And the reasons are pretty clear, everybody. The reasons are very simple. It's really all about the demographics and the technology and how people consume information in this day and age. Like, we're sitting here, this video is done in 2022, in November, right? So if you're looking back on this video years later, it's going to be pretty funny that I'm even making this video because it seems so obvious, right? But basically, we have people who are using their phones and their digital devices all the time for everything now. And, they're actually starting to collect on there as well. But the beautiful thing about it is it's not replacing the physical stuff. It's actually adding on to it. So people like me who grew up in a different time, before all the digital, I didn't grow up in the digital age. I grew up before the internet and everything. I have all my physical toys, comics, and collectibles that I love and will never replace. But now I get another place to go and I get to collect on my phone as well. Take my collection with me, or on my computer. If I open up like a web browser, I can see the stuff there too. And I can interact with people like in the fandom immediately, like without having to go to conventions and all that kind of thing, or reach out in that way. I can interact with them right on these platforms as communities are being built right before our eyes. So it's actually like an incredible world that is developing right before us. And right now, we're basically in the phase of just collecting, all of these types of things. Like, for example, on the Veve app, I collect all the comic books and the digital, assets. Like I collect, like the figures and art and all sorts of stuff on there. And I'm just basically collecting them at this point, and I can read the comics and I'm just interacting with them in that way. And then I'm also connecting with the community on social media and through the app. They have a feed in there where you can communicate with each other. But that is just the first stage, the beginning of this. This is all going into another phase in the future where, if you heard about the metaverse, and Veve has a Veveverse that's being developed, where I'll be able to actually go into a world digitally and hang out with people in there and share our experiences together in kind of an online world for a short period of time. And then I'll be able to come back out into the real world and meet them as well at conventions and everything too. It's a combination of everything, and it's just getting started. So like, this is why I'm making the video today. It's just to kind of put it out there to people who may be on the fence about getting into digital collecting. It's a lot of fun. There's definitely really valuable stuff in this space as well. If you're actually like interested in that kind of thing, like getting really high-end collectibles, there are a lot of really valuable digital collectibles, that are already existing. And, like they all go up and down, just like the same markets you have for comic books or collectibles in the real world. The prices go up and down just the same way. A lot of the same people are already here. And what's actually crazy is that this digital age is now making, collectors out of people who never collected before, because they're all used to their phones. And now they're going into the comic book shops and the physical toy stores, and they're actually buying those things as well. It's actually working in reverse. So it's quite a cool thing where people are all kind of meeting in the middle here. And it's just, it's just the way the world's going. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the demographics of it all, and why I feel that this area is just going to keep expanding is because of the youth, right? So I have, I have my family, and I have, my children are growing up in this digital age, and the way they experience the world, the way they see these, the way they interact with movies and pop culture is different than the way I did, right? They're on their devices, they're connecting with their friends, they're on social media that way. And all this digital collecting just ties right into that, because it builds right into a community that's actually growing, right before our eyes. And the youth are the ones that are going to really take this really beyond. So as, at this stage of the game, I'm already in there. I'm having lots of fun. I've discovered it kind of early, and I know that the youth are going to take it to places that I can't even imagine, and it's going to be so fun, right? Communities are literally being formed right before our eyes in the digital space. We have social media and everything like that with Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and all that. But the thing is that the digital collecting is building communities of people who are like-minded, easily able to connect. And now, like I said earlier, we're all going to conventions together in the real world and buying physical stuff there as well. And it's all just coming together in a beautiful way. And so that's why I wanted to put this video out, is if you have questions about the digital, collecting and the different platforms, just let me know. You can comment down below, and you can follow me on Twitter as well. My link is in the description of all my videos. We can continue the conversation there, and you can get involved with some of these communities. Like I said, there's Veve. That's the main one that I go for. That's the big one for me. There's, Vital, which does all the art stuff, because that is great too. Their platform is growing as well. We have other platforms as well. I mentioned McFarlane's doing stuff, and there's HRO, which is like Hero, and they do like cards, digital cards and everything with superheroes from DC. And there's the Bat Cowl project on the DC NFT website, and that is really crazy because that's DC Comics and Batman material. It's super fun, and the communities on all of these are actually really strong, really helpful in a lot of ways. They will usually open the door for people and welcome people in. So if you have questions, just get involved that way, have some fun with it, and start to move into this other age of digital collecting. It's all coming. This is the way the world is going. Nothing will ever replace my physical stuff and my comic books. I love them to death, but at the same time, I love my new digital collectibles as well. They're absolutely amazing and a lot of fun. So let me know if you have any questions. Put them down in the comments section below. I will be making a lot more videos about this topic for sure as we move forward, but I will see you in the next video, and happy digital collecting.